1946, 67. Hello and welcome to my podcast. I'm Naomi and this is NJ Knits, where I talk about my knitting. Happy Christmas. It's not quite New Year yet, but I thought I'd do a quick check-in, and the reason is because I have started the official count of my stash. I made that way more exciting and then it went really anticlimactic, so I apologise. Here we go again. I'm going to try it again. I have done the official... Oh, my computer has... Alright, here we go. Ready? Here we go. It's time for the official stash count of 2022! This year, I have decided to count my stash and count it down as I use it. But we'll go into that more. This is an intro where I tell you what we're going to do. I do still have a few finished objects because... we're not working, so I'm doing a bunch of knitting. And then I have some little Christmas presents to share. So grab a cup of tea or something else. I have a cup of blue raspberry tea from Bird and Blend. I'm watching the light change. I'm trying a different lighting setup because the last video was very bad. In terms of, like, it was really grainy. It is daylight, but this is how dark the boat is if you don't have any lights on, like behind me. So it's quite dark even when it's daylight outside. You can see there's the daylight, but the windows are pretty small. So I have a light on me and then all the other lights off because they like make a glare. And we're seeing how this works out. I don't want to go upstairs, and upstairs is like full of stuff. So that's why we're down here. So that's why we're down here. So I'll start with some finished objects. I already just showed these a second ago. So these are my second pair of, they look quite funny. Let me grab a blocker. This is my second Advent sock. Oh, and actually, what I'm wearing, this is the Korshavn Slipover. And I've forgotten the designer name, but she has a range of Korshavn things. This basket weave stitch is so clever and so effective. I think it's a really, really cool stitch. And she has like a jumper and I think a cardigan and this slipover. So yeah, it's like cropped and really low in the arm, which I really enjoy. Find it very wearable, and I made it in some yarn I got on eBay from a D-stash called Linea Botanica from Rico Designs. It's 100% wool and it's really nice. It's quite soft but kind of fluffy. I'm certain it's discontinued, so you're welcome. I had one ball left and I gave it to a friend who learnt to knit and made a hat with it. So here is, oh, looks so much nicer. Here is my sock. It really needs a block. I haven't blocked it. I did wear it once. This is the Walk in the Park socks by Cool Stitches. I think it might be her first knitting pattern. She has a few, like, I think things that she shares. Sorry, it's blowing out. Here we go. So this was day 9. And this feels like a little combo of cotton and something. I did these toe up. So this, and I went up a size needle because I knew I was going to do colour work. So I think this was on a 2mm, and then I went to 2.25. I increased to probably 56 stitches, and that was too many on a 2mm needle. So the toe is quite baggy on me. And also because it's like mostly cotton, I think. It's not elastic. You know, the wool, it doesn't have the properties of wool, so it doesn't, like, whatever that's called, cinch back. So yeah, the toe is a bit baggy, which is okay. And then I decreased, because the toe was baggy, I decreased to get the correct, like, repeat for the stitch pattern, and I increased in needle size. And then I did this foot, and I should have tried it on sooner, but the foot is too tight, so, like, I have to, like, pull to get it around my foot, and I'm hoping that I can get more width in it with blocking. The contrast colour that I used, this is the sea cell wool, which is merino and seaweed, and it's not very elastic either. So overall, too loose, much too tight. I'm hoping to get some more space in blocking. Then, because I realised it was too tight, I started increasing for a gusset immediately, because I was like, there's no way this is going over my heel. So I increased quite a lot. And then I did the heel, just a short row heel. And then I finished this colour. So this was day 9, this was day 10, the white. Day 11, it's kind of hard to tell because it's mild, like, cream colour with some of this white. So in some bits it looks white, in some bits it looks cream. But it's definitely more creamy than this. So this was 9, 10, 11. And then when I decreased the gusset, I decided not to make it stripy and just kind of decrease in the pattern. Not entirely sure why I did that, but I kind of like the effect because I ended up decreasing all the way up to here because this is far too loose. Too loose, too tight, too loose. Because this is so loose, because this heel kind of flops off of my, like, it does that a bit. So yeah, and then this was day 9, 10, 11, this was day 12, which is just a very, like, true white. That's pretty good colour situation, because you're getting the light from the window there. Overall, I was kind of sick of this sock, and it turned out quite badly. However, I wore it in boots, and it was fine, actually. I'll show you the process of getting it on, because it's kind of silly, and that's my trademark, right? Just really messing things up and showing you the results. So here we go. Get this on. Because it's been worn, it's easier to get on. So I have hope for the blocking. Is there a way to block something bigger in one place and smaller in another? So yeah, it's actually not as bad as I thought, but this is pretty baggy, and this is definitely stretched out since wearing it, so that's a good thing. So yeah, that's my first finished object. My walk in the park socks. They were not a walk in the park for me, but for no fault of the design. The design is actually top down, and I did it obviously toe up, and I added a gusset. So I've just messed about with the design. which is why they turned out so difficult. I'm going to block them. And the other thing that's going to block with them is Holly's mitts to go with her hat. Her hat has now been worn and it's now a much more reasonable size looking, not as tiny. But she wore her hat, and then we were going ice skating on New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, and she was like, "Can you get my mitts done?" So I tried. I had one mitt done because I started the night before. I got one mitt done the night before, and the second mitt I finished after we'd finished skating. So here they are. They're not blocked, so they look a bit rough. I actually counted the stitches this time, so they should be the same size. Counted the rows. I did mess something up in the way I increased. When I finished them, Holly immediately noticed. So I'm not sure what I did, but the increases look different. So like here at the like middle of the hand, it's like that. And here it's like going this direction. They're like that. Here it's like that. So they are different. And the same thing here. Like I honestly, like, I tried to work out what I'd done, and I just was like, I'm so confused. I don't know what I did. Don't know what I did. Here they are, wearing them opposite. There's only one increase here. There's two here. I honestly have no idea. But hopefully give them a block. They'll look a bit nicer, and hopefully she won't notice the complete random way I was increasing. I don't know what I did. So yeah, I think I'll give these a block. I don't think I'm going to give this a block because I think it's fine. This yarn takes a fair bit of time to dry. So this is the Mota yarn from Wool Dreamers, and it's like a DK, and it's mostly Manchego. I can't remember if it's fully Manchego, but I think it is. And I just love it. I have a hat and a matching pair of mitts, and Holly has a hat and a matching pair of mitts, and we wear them at the same time, and we are that lesbian couple. So, next finished object. This is my final finished object. And this is my gnome. I joined in the Gnome Along, which was a mystery Gnome Along. You make a gnome, but you don't know what it's going to look like. And it was so much fun. And I'm excited to enter my gnome and see if I win a prize. It's from Imagined Landscapes, and she does a lot of gnomes from what I gather. It was really, really fun. You got a clue every single day of Advent, so it was like an Advent calendar, but it was not stuff. And I got to use up loads of scraps of wool and to stuff it. And here she is. This is Nova the gnome. She has little pigtails. I've made them a bit short. I wish I'd made them a bit longer. But she's so cute. Her beard is blowing out in the light. Oh, that's better. So this gnome I did with scraps of all sorts. This is this is actually cotton. You can kind of see it's sort of floppy from my this is cotton that I got in Canada from my shorts. This is brown wool that I used to make that the vest that I cut apart and re-sewed together. That's also from Canada. And this is also from Canada, the same wool, but I got this in a shop. This one I got in a charity shop. This is the same wool. It's Custom Wool and Mills single ply mule spun. And I got this to make the Swan Lake socks, so I had to use some of that. And then this is just some scrap of Shetland wool that I got in a charity shop. And this is also some scrap of Shetland wool that I got in a charity shop. she has some accessories. So she has a little scarf. Haven't actually tried tying the scarf. I think a scarf is a really funny accessory for a gnome because they famously don't have a neck or a full head. But anyways, little scarf. Also famously no arms, so really nowhere to put, no shoulders, nowhere to put a scarf really. She has a little bag, a little messenger bag, which you can use to secure the scarf in place. Again, bag, odd thing for a gnome. Again, due to lack of shoulders. But hey ho, you can use a nose to keep the bag down. And she has changes of hats. So, you can take her hat off, and that's just Nova Son's hat. And she has this hat, which I quite enjoy. Gnome without a hat. That one's really cute. And she also has this hat. Which this hat is kind of funny because it's same colour as her beard, so it looks quite... It's a cute little hat, little tassels. So this is Nova the Gnome. And yeah, it was really fun. You got like, you didn't have, there wasn't knitting every single day, but there were like little tags, like present tags one day, which I used, like printed at the library and cut out and used for my gifts. And another day we got like a recipe. So there was all kinds of bits. You got an email every day with a new bit from the pattern, which was really fun. Okay, on to whips. That was all my finished objects. Yee. Now it's time for some whips. I need a quick Christmas Smartie. Does everyone have a Christmas like candy or chocolate or sweet? Because my partner, it's her family, it's always a Malteser. They have a Christmas Malteser. My family, it's Smarties. You always get a tube of Smarties in your stocking. What about you? So, my little knitting club, my beeshes and booshes. So, my next whip is in my gorgeous project bag that I made, that I'm still absolutely obsessed with. And this was there's a pattern by Cool Stitches, a sewing pattern, because Cool Stitches is, she mostly does sewing patterns. She has some really cool ones. Anyway, she has a pattern for the Frankie project bag. I did not actually buy it and make it. I just sort of saw it and used it as inspiration to make my own. Anyways, I talked about this last time, but I still just love it. So this is my Advent Socks day. This time I went top down, and this time I added elastic to the tops, just as an experiment. I thought that would be fun. Most of this is wool. Actually, this bit is the cotton bit, so that would have benefited from the elastic more than this bit, but hey ho. I didn't do this in order, so this one is day 13. That was just a mistake. I put it back in the wrong bag and I thought this was day 13, so I started with this. I meant to start with this and go to this one, but this is day 13, this is 14, this is 5. Oh, is it in order? I don't think it is actually. 15, 16, 17. Yeah, so this is order. December 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. And then I went out of order just to like make colours that I thought went nicely together. So this is someday, I don't know. I lost track. And then I'm going to finish with this colour, which incidentally is the colour I got in my on Christmas Day. It's my big 100-gram skein. So this is from day 22. So I'm almost finished. I've been doing these two at a time, not two at a time, but yes, two at a time. So this was a method that someone suggested to me when I was complaining about my socks being two different sizes. So I just have 2 pairs of needles and I'm doing them at the same time. I'm using 2.5 because some of these were thicker and I also had elastic, so it was a bit almost like DK. So I'm using 2.5mm needles. Like this is fairly thick, but obviously not all of it is the same thickness. But I'm doing a ribbed sock anyway, so it's okay. This is a 3x1 rib, and yeah, I really like the result. I worked on these on the way home. So when I separated all these wools, I did it by weight and it didn't turn out perfectly even. So obviously you can see here this colour is a bit longer than this colour, and then this colour was longer than that colour as well. So I ended up, this sock was much longer. So because I did then the full heel in the white. I did the heel in the white and then I just kept going on the gusset with the rest of the white. So I thought actually if I just do some of this white before I start the heel, it'll look the same on this bit of the sock, even though it'll look different on this bit, if that makes any sense. So here the white is the beginning of the heel flap, and here there's just some ribbing with the white before the heel flap commences. But I think I corrected too much, because I now think that this sock is longer. I counted rows! I was like, how many rows do I have above the flap? And it was 68, so then I had 58 on this side, so I just added 10 rows and it made it longer. I don't know what else I can do, folks. I don't know how much more. Anyways. One time I just look at the size and compare the size and it comes out different sizes. Another time I count the rows and it comes out different sizes. But I think it'll all be fine once we block them. So yeah, I really like how the elastic feels. This one has shirring elastic in it. And this one has petite knit elastic. So it's kind of, it's almost clear. I think the petite knit elastic feels more like bounces, like it cinches in more. But I like how they both feel. I like that it gives a bit of structure, like a bit more thickness to the top bit. Yeah. So those are my socks. They're very nearly finished. I only have this much more of this colour on here, and then I do the other side, and then I'll do the toe. Little bags from my advent. So that is my socks. And my last whip to show you is my Christmas cast on. Because I only brought my Advent socks, both pairs, which I finished one. The wool for Holly's mitts, which I finished. And the wool for my gnome, which I finished. And then I brought the wool for my Christmas cast on, which I cast on. So I used everything that I brought. I didn't finish the yarn, but I finished the projects. So this is the wool I brought for my Christmas cast on. I was umming and ahhing about which one to do. I had a few different ones that I was thinking of doing that are in my queue and I have wool for. But I went with the the Snow Crocus by Midori Hirose, and I have Knitting for Olive Double Soft Merino in the colour slate, I think. No, lead. In the colour lead. There it is. So I have it in this project bag, which I also made out of some wool. These are like samples from a upholsterer. And then this is also a sample. It's a waxed cotton sample. And then this was a zip. I got a big, huge lot of zips from eBay from someone. And then this was also fabric from it's just cotton from the scrap store. So here it is. I haven't done too much on it. I'm just starting on the short rows. I realised that I wanted to use my Chow Goose for this because last time I knit with this wool I used my wooden Knit Pros, and I wanted more pointiness on it. I also did a gauge swatch on my White Mountains, which is with the same wool, and it's in stockinette, and I used, I think, a 5.5mm needle instead of a 6mm needle, and that got me like a 12 stitch per 10cm gauge, and this is supposed to be 15 stitches in stockinette, so I went down to 4.5mm needle, because I did want like a tighter gauge anyway from my other jumper. So this is the collar. It's going to be like a funnel neck, and I've just put in loads of stitch markers because this is a cabled situation, and I'm doing some short rows. So yeah, I've already woven my end in. I always weave my ends immediately because I find them really, really irritating, like having them there. And this is how much I have of the first ball. I've got 7 balls. So yeah, I love this wool, and I'm really excited to have something with a tighter gauge in this wool. Oh, so yes, so I'm using my Chow Goose shorties. I have a small set of shorties and a extra small set of shorties. I have from size 1.75mm up until size 5mm. And these ones, this cable, I realised I didn't have any long cables for my bigger Chow Goose, the fatter ones. And so I got this cable from Yak in Brighton, because that's where we went for Christmas. And this cable, it twists, which is great. Knit Pro have twisty cables as well, and they're great. And it's also made of nylon instead of the Chow Goose ones are usually made with stainless steel. And it's very, very floppy, the nylon cable. Like, would be very easy to make socks in, I think, because it just flops so easily. So yeah, that's what I have to say. I'm enjoying this and looking forward to doing some more on it. And this is my project bag with this is the rest of the wool. And this is from the Czech Botanic Gardens. It says I could eat you up, and it's a plant that eats things. Anyway. Next, I'm going to show you a couple things. So that was my whips. My acquisitions, I will show you a couple things that Holly got me. I won't show you the wool because I put it upstairs, and it's 2 balls of Lang Yarwool in a neon yellow and a neon pink. And I was so excited because I really, really wanted socks with neon, pops of neon in them. So yeah, they're just 2 50-gram balls, and they come with thread to make them stronger as well, to reinforce the heel, etc. So yeah, I'm going to make, I think I might make some white tube socks, like cream. I have some cream wool. Make some tube socks and do little neon stripes on them. I'm very excited. So that was one acquisition. This is some of my bits from Holly. She got me some sewing bits, so I'll just quickly show them to you. This is like a little thing that can hold things, and you can just take it with you. We kind of go to Tiger and get random bits for each other's stockings. So they're like these little plastic things, and you can just put some bits in it and pick it up and take it with you wherever you're going around the house. So she got me 2 of these. I have some bigger ones, so she got me small ones. She got me a pin magnet, which I'm so excited about for my sewing. I really needed that. She got me these little boxes. They're just little matchbox thingies. I don't know. And she was like, for putting stitch markers in or little bits. And I was like, no. So yeah, these little cute boxes. Got 2 of them, just from Tiger. More sewing bits. She got me a pencil. I've been using the chalk we have for our chalkboard. And she got me some pins, sewing pins, dressmaker's pins. And she got me a hand sewing machine, which looks like a stapler. I haven't quite got it to work yet. I haven't got it to... I don't think the bottom bobbin is situated, so it does the top stitch, but nothing attaches on the bottom, so you finish it and it just all comes out. And then this is just cute. It's from Poundland, but it's a little it's like a pen holder, but I might use it as a needle holder or knitting needle holder or something. I don't know, it's just super cute. I almost got the same one for her. But she doesn't really store small things or need a pen holder, so I did not get it. And then my big bits from her. I got the wool, the 2 balls of sock wool, and I got some really exciting things. I got this mud pouch. And I think she got it from Knit and Living because she gave me the this guy. So it has a pocket here, which has a little tag in it. I guess you could sew that in if you wanted. 100% leather. Yeah, it's like a tag to sew in. And then it's got this. And this is the Hattie in the colour Whiskey. The Hattie pouch. And it's got a little thingy. So anyway, it has those things. And the leather is just really, really soft. And then this is the case. It opens like that, and then you can put things on either side. And I actually have my needles. These are the needles I used to make my gnome. And they're kind of long. They're too long to get in my little pouch that I use for all my projects. And I put them in the project bag for the gnome, which I was using this project bag at the time. And they like stuck through the fabric. They like made a hole in the fabric, and I was like, oh no! And then I got this for Christmas, and I was able to put my double pointed needles inside it, and that made me very happy. Ooh, my stomach made a very strange noise. And then my other two amazing gifts are the Mending Directory by Erin Eggenberg. And it's basically a stitch dictionary for mending stitches. And it comes with like iron-on transfers of the different kinds of stitches that you can do. So that you can kind of iron it onto your fabric and like follow the lines. So yeah, it's got the first section is like there's general information for the first section about mending and like what kinds of materials you need and like yeah, the basics. So that's this section. And then this is like a dictionary, a stitch dictionary, but for mending stitches. So these ones are all woven, and it like marks it as woven. So you've got like just each page is a different stitch, and it explains how to do them. And then it's got the woven ones are quite long, so that's the quantity of like general info. That's the quantity of woven, if you can see here, and then that's the quantity of knitting mend stitches. So yeah, you can, there's like some really cool patterns for different like knitting, like basically darning but decoratively. So I'm really excited because I really love darning, and I'm excited to do some interesting stitches. I mean, look at that one. That's so cool. So yeah, I think this is a great book. We saw it in I think I saw it in Liberty in the haberdashery, and then Holly just kind of took a mental note and got it for me. And then no, we didn't. We saw it in Loop in Angel in the knitting shop. Then she got me Lerka Bagger's book. I'm so excited to read it. I'm gonna like read it. Yeah, so I'm sure lots of people are like talking about this book. But there's just like so many like wonderful pictures. It's just so like there's so much like cool images. There's just like a lot of like in like you know, interesting like stuff. Like this is ideas for how to use like color. ATS is like painting with yarn. Add a piece of scrap in every second, fourth or seventh round or row, or just switch your brain off and go wherever your mood takes you. Yeah, so like teaching you kind of how to do this in a way that makes sense. It's just cool. I like that it has lots of info and not just patterns. I mean, scrap scrunchies. This is kind of her signature thing, is like this sort of like adding scrap bits to make it look painterly, I guess. But yeah, I really, really love it. And there's stuff. I really want to learn to do this like loopy thing. I think that would be really cool. And there's stuff on beading. Like, look at this top, 100% beads. I don't know if I would ever make it or ever wear it, but it's pretty cool. Also, to do that, I'd have to get beads. I don't need to collect more stuff. Like, look at that beaded top. It feels like something that I would never wear. Because it would be really difficult to store as well. Like, it would be so bulky and heavy and take up a lot of space. I would find that difficult. But anyway, I really love this book. I'm excited to like sit and just read through it, get some knitting on and just read through it. So that's my acquisitions. And now for the bit you've all been waiting for. It's time, my friends, for the great stash count. I've already counted it. And I'll show you in my knitting book. The great stash count of 2023. So I've done it by area. Got sitting room, my project bags, my box with project yarns, like in project bags, my knitting cart, my scraps, and then my scraps. I've done my scraps more like specifically so I can use this as a reference to like how much I have of certain types of scraps and what kinds of colours and things. So now the way I'm looking at my stash down is I'm going to count all the quantities of wool. So even if it's like one ball of wool that I've like cut in half for some reason and I have two, it's 2 balls. And even if it's like one ball of wool that has like 900 meters of wool and it's like really heavy, it's 1 ball. If it's 1 ball, it's 1 ball. So that counts like kind of, that's in my favor as well as against my favorite, if that makes any sense. So it's basically like separate quantities of wool. So I've counted them all, but I haven't added them up yet. So it's time to do that. So in my sitting room, I've got 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 46 balls in my sitting room. In my project bags, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In my box, this is like a little cube, like an IKEA cube, full of wool that I have a project in mind for that is in a project bag waiting to be cast on. So I've got 10, 19, 20, 35, 45, 60, 70, 83 in my project box. That's a lot. In my knitting cart, this is wool that I have that I haven't thought of a project for, basically. So this is like my stash. The stuff in the front room is just like decorative yarn. So yeah, so far we've got 46 balls of decorative yarn. Plus 7 in current like projects. 83 in my like box of like projects to cast on. And then in my like stash, which is just like yarn that I have that I don't have any like specific plans for, we've got 18, 46, 67, 88. So I have 88 balls of wool in my stash, in my yarn trolley. And now for scraps. So summer scraps, I have 11 in my summer scraps, 11 balls. In my thick scraps, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. In my mohair scraps, I've got 3. In my Shetland colourwork fingering scraps, I have 11. And my sock scraps, I have 15. And another bunch of scraps that I found at the end, 18. So now to total these. I feel like buying 8 balls of wool now just because. That is a grand total of 292 balls of wool. So, the first thing I'm going to do to reduce my stash is I'm going to give away 16 balls of wool. So that actually makes 276. I'm going to do a new page and I'm going to start with my totals and I'm going to like reduce them with each thing as I reduce it. So I've got 276 balls of wool. And that is I'm gonna see. So the concept is I'm just gonna see how much I can knit of that, and kind of keep track of it numerically because I think that sounds fun. For no other particular reason than that. As far as stash goes, I think I definitely have enough, if not too much, for me. So for me, it's like, is it easy to store? If it's more or less doable, storage-wise, I can put it in the place where it goes, then I'm okay with it. If it's like overflowing and really difficult to like get stuff out, put stuff in, then it's too much. And it's kind of nearing that stage. So it definitely don't need more. I need to use stuff up. So yeah, that is where I'm starting. 276 balls of wool. Have you ever counted your wool? How much do you have? If you have. And again, just to clarify, the reason I'm doing this is because counting sounds fun to me. I don't think it sounds stressful. For me, it doesn't feel stressful to have a number and like go down on the number, because I guess each time I finish a ball of wool, I can like have a total number that like is changing. And that's kind of like a really simple, clear-cut, easy way of me to keep track of what I have. And that actually feels relaxing because it's like only one thing to keep in my head. Like, not that I need to memorize the number of wool I have in my head and know it at all times, but like it's like a really simple, easy way to sort of like keep tabs on what's happening as far as how much wool I have. And it gives me a really fun incentive to do scrap projects where I like use up like, 10 balls of wool or whatever. Because just before I did this big count, I made that balaclava, which used up so much wool. It used up 13 balls of wool. Right, it's now time for breakfast, because I've been up for almost 5 hours and I haven't had breakfast yet, so let's make that happen. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in and watching. I hope to see you again soon, and I hope you're having a lovely time and are well. Lots of people are really ill at the moment, so I hope you're well, and if you're not, I hope you are coping all right, and I'm sending you strength and energy. Or just sending you sleep, if that's what you need. Okay, I'll see you later.